So welcome back, and in today's video, I went to the pnci, that's the Pacific Northwest Carpenters Institute, and that's the training center for all carpenter apprentices in Oregon. So my goal with these videos is to kind of lay out exactly what you need to do to get into the apprenticeship, what the apprenticeship looks like as far as the schooling, as far as what's going to be required on the job site. My job is to try to help and make it as easy as possible for you to get all the knowledge you need and be armed with it, so that when you do choose this career field, you know exactly what you're up for, right? So you're not going to be wasting your time. You're going to be fully informed, and so you can be as effective as possible when you make this choice, because I'm an advocate of anybody joining the trades. I want people who want to be in the trades, not people to be bamboozled or be confused and join the trades and then figure out like this is not what they want. So, and also I want to make it easier for those who are kind of frightened, that don't know anything about the trades, to be able to kind of get some background information, get more familiar with like some of the terms. So I'm going to do a video coming up pretty soon about some of the jargon you're going to hear on job sites, what some of the tools are going to be, how to change out some of the blades and some of the tools, just so that you can watch these videos in this playlist. And so that way you're going to be up to speed, at least as far as like a pre-apprenticeship type information. So when you do go for your interview, or if you do go on a job site, you're going to be fully informed and you're not going to be that behind. You know what I mean? So I want to be a resource to you. And if you appreciate these videos, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I'm going to produce more content like this. Like I said before, I have a Discord channel. I want to be an advocate for you guys. I want to help you guys. That's my goal. And as this channel grows bigger, I want to then do more outreach programs. I just want to switch the narrative of what the trades are perceived as and what they can do to help you. I appreciate you guys and thank you. So welcome back. And in today's video, I'm here at the pnci. This is the Pacific Northwest Carpenters Institute. This is where we have the training center. This is where they have the apprenticeship. This is where they're learning all the different things. And so my job for you guys is to show you exactly what the carpenter field looks like from the beginning to the end. So I kind of want to talk about my experience, about how I went through my apprenticeship and how it's changed throughout, you know, my time being here and how things have progressed. I know things have been a little bit choppy as far as like the COVID stuff, so it's made things a little more difficult, but I kind of want to talk about my experience and what made me successful. I got through the apprenticeship. It was a 4-year program. I got through in 3 years and 3 months, and that's with no knowledge whatsoever. So I kind of started fresh and I made it through. And some advice I have for you at the very beginning, let's start at the very beginning. When you first sign up for the apprenticeship, they're going to give you certain times you got to be at certain classes, right? And you got to make sure that you're there on time or early. You want to be there 15, 20 minutes early, because that's going to show that you're dedicated first and foremost. If you're coming in late, it's pretty much like a death sentence for your apprenticeship when you first get started off, because you're showing that you're not serious. And that means that people that are serious, who are hungry, are gonna get a job before you. So the only time that you'll probably get hired on is if there's a huge boom in the industry, which doesn't happen all that often. Jump through, they might have a class in the morning, they might have a class at night, and that's done on purpose. They do that because they want to make sure that you're flexible, but also you're determined. So you want to make sure, again, make sure you're there on time, with enough time if the traffic comes or whatever, you're giving yourself enough leeway, or get an initial amount of knowledge so that when you do go in there, you're armed with some tools so that you can be more successful in your interview. Because people want the apprenticeship is something that's going to be like an investment, right? And the institutions don't want to invest in those who aren't going to be there very long, especially if it seems like you're really lackadaisical when it comes to the apprenticeship. Like you kind of come in dressed like sloppy, you kind of don't really have any idea. It's real, your answers are real vapid. You have no real idea what you want to do. You seem kind of aimless. That's going to be a red flag for those who are going to invest in you, because again, you don't pay for the apprenticeship. The apprenticeship comes out of everybody else working, and we all pay towards it. So it's an investment for all of us, but at the same time, we don't want to make a bad investment. So that's why you got to make sure you have an idea of what you want to do, and make sure this is something you're really serious about. Like, you're not going to have something where you're going to change your mind in a couple months. You know what I mean? So if you do want to get into the apprenticeship, if you do want to get into the carpenter field, make sure you put some thought behind it first. So one of the things that I did when I first went for my interview for the apprenticeship is I did something I didn't see anybody else do. It might sound crazy, but this is what I did. I came in with slacks, dress shoes, and a nice button-up shirt, and most other guys came in like with, you know, raggedy hoodies and like, I guess, work apparel. That makes sense, but at the same time, the reason why I dressed up is because I wanted to show like how serious I was about the apprenticeship, how I realized that getting to the union was going to be something that's going to change my life, and so I took it seriously. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I do think it's important that when you do come into the interview process and you do come to the more final stages of getting into the apprenticeship, that you take it with the utmost seriousness, because again, this is an investment in you, and you want to convey that you're serious about getting into the union and being an effective worker. So you want to make sure that you convey that with everything you do, whether it be like how you present yourself, the questions that you ask, the way you answer questions. You want to make sure that you really are conveying that you're serious about the apprenticeship and you're serious about getting the union and being a hard worker. That's the most important thing, because again, you're going to make good money. I'm not going to ifs and buts about that. You're going to make better money than most people with no college education. And when you first get started, they're not going to require a lot out of you as far as like knowing the skills. So you want to make sure that that investment in you is worth it. Okay, so what are some of the things that apprentices need to know when they come to the training center? What are some of the things that they could be armed with to be more like responsible, to be more like proactive, to be like better students?
Being a member here or a student or apprentice here, you have to sign up, get an account, and so that's how we send you messages, invitations for classes, and you know, so we'll give you a heads up, a letter and all that. So when, for example, this week I'm teaching exterior trim, this is for the general carpenters, kind of what you did. They have to be prepared to come out here and put up siding. They have to be dressed appropriately, for boots, safety glasses, hard hats, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's the basics. They know how to dress for the job site, so we would want them to come prepared. On top of that, they need to bring their calculator, because they'll be using that. So that's the kind of stuff we remind them, so they shouldn't forget that.
What are some differences between people that you think are taking in the knowledge and then people who are kind of like playing around? Like, can you tell usually who the difference is, people who are taking it serious and those who aren't?
Yeah. So some students, they take time off from work. They come here, their guards go down, they treat this like a week off or something like that. They don't come with that same mindset, like be on time, producing, and so we want them to treat this as a job site. Show up on time, be productive, listen, participate, just treat it like a job site. Yeah, it's a classroom setting, they get graded on this, but at the same time, they don't get paid. But they need to take this as serious as a job site. If there's some stuff that they might think they can get away with here, but if they were to do that on the job site, they'll get kicked off, fired, whatever. So that's the kind of stuff that I want them to not slow down. I want the momentum to still go, just like they would on the job site.
I know a lot of people that enter the trades, they usually are kids who are more like hands-on. They learn like through actions opposed to just reading things. So is the apprenticeship schooling a little bit different than school in high school and college, or is it the same?
It's different because I'm one of those that didn't like a lot of books and stuff like that. I like to work with my hands, and so for those that think we're like high school or a college, no, this is different. There are a little bit of book work, but mostly, as you can see, there's a lot of hands-on stuff. So I'm one of those that didn't care for a lot of books, and so this has been a good thing for me because I got to do something that I enjoy. And when you enjoy something, you'll pick it up. And if you read about it and you enjoy it, it's not as boring as reading something in college or high school that you're not that interested in. So this is an easier learning process, at least for a guy like me.
One of my favorite classes was the exterior trim class that included doing trim, that included doing hardy, that included doing siding. And that was an amazing class for me because we don't usually get to do all those things as a general contractor. Those are usually subbed out. So it's good to get your feet wet with something that you're not familiar with, but also something that might help you, when you go home and you can work in your own house. Say you wanted to, replace the siding, you get a lot of information so that you can kind of like either if you want to do a side job or improve your own life. It's good to have those skills, and it's good to get familiar with this stuff when you're not on the timetable of someone else's money. Now, the training center is important as far as taking it seriously, but you don't have that constraint of, if you don't, or if you're not super efficient, or if you're learning on the job, you're costing someone money because you're not as efficient. It's good to take that time to really soak up and really ask a lot of questions so you're more effective moving forward. And that's one thing I really appreciated. I really appreciated the sheetrock, the steel stud and sheetrock class, even though it's more of like an EIS, like an interior structures type system. I still like the fact that we got to do a little bit of it because sometimes we will demo things as a general contractor and we will have to replace it. So it is good to have some basic knowledge when it comes to sheetrock, even though that's not something that general contractors usually do specialize in. Another class that I really enjoyed was the concrete form class, and we were able to do two different classes. So one class was the basic concrete class, and because sometimes in the holidays the training center likes to do something special for the city of Portland when they have people come in and they want to see like what we're learning, we'll do something special. So, and this time we did a bridge form, a huge structural bridge form. We took a class about 20 people and we all built this huge form up, and that was really cool because again, we don't do those things that often. That's usually like ODOT, like the Oregon Department of Transportation. They have their own sector and they build the bridges, but it was cool to see like what that looks like and all the different snap ties that go in there and all the different hardware that it takes to build a bridge form. So that was pretty cool. And then the secondary concrete class was we built a little podium with the staircase going up into it, and I really enjoyed that. So it's not something we get to do all the time, so I definitely do appreciate when we get our feet wet with something that's not an everyday process. And so again, if you're going into the apprenticeship, take advantage of everything you can. Ask questions, and don't just ask questions about the job. Ask about financial advice. I mean, a lot of these guys are going to be way more seasoned than you. They're going to have a lot of information. Take what you can, because a lot of times, again, you don't have a lot of time to speak to people aside from the lunchroom or break time. People are all busy. So it's good to just soak up all the information you can because these guys are willing to help. That's why they're in the teaching roles. They're just great providers of information. So just soak it up. I enjoy the apprenticeship. I know sometimes that the classes kind of get like a bad rep because they get boring as far as when you have to do the actual paperwork stuff and the book work. But I think the shop room time and working on the floor was definitely worth it. Okay, so now we are in the new section of the apprenticeship area. This is the mock-up stage, and we're learning something new here. So can you explain to us what the new class is?
Yeah, so we've got 3 teachers dedicated to working on the mock-ups for cross-laminated timber. We've got a few panels out here. So I'm not part of this, but they're working on it, going to set up a curriculum and start teaching this class. So we need to stay ahead of it. It's new to me, so I don't have a whole lot to say about this, but we'll all get trained once we get the curriculum up and running. And so whatever is new out there, we got to jump on it. We got to stay competitive. This is to support the union employees. So yeah, and we're the one stop for this Northwest, so we don't have a choice but to stay on top of it,
Oh, for sure. So let me ask you, what are some of your favorite classes to teach?
My favorite classes, one is the interior trim and exterior trim. They're similar that's something that 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall. On one section is 10 feet tall. It's big. They start the week building it from ground up, and just watching them build it, watching them standing and taking a selfie, it lets me know that they're proud of what they've done. So what the students enjoy would be my favorite class. Yes, I do teach math and blueprint, and they kind of struggle there. I love blueprint, and I like a little bit of math, not as much as blueprint, but as far as the students, they like the hands-on part. So I would say my favorite classes to teach are the ones that involves a lot of hands-on.
If you like this video and you want to see more, I have a playlist about construction topics. I speak about a whole bunch of different things. I talk to different carpenters. If you have any suggestions of videos that you want to see, or if you have any questions about being a union carpenter and what that looks like, I have a video coming out about what kind of jobs we do. So hit me up in the comment section if you have any questions or criticisms. I'm open to both, and please like the video. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. One of my favorite classes was the exterior trim class. It was really dope because we were able to install Hardy, we were able to install trim and do Tyvek, and I had never done that before in my career, so it was good to kind of get my feet wet with something. But again,